The party went quiet. 12-year-old Lily froze, cake plate still in her hands, her small smile collapsing in real time. If you've ever watched someone humiliate your child and had to choose between rage and dignity, hit like right now. If you've ever bitten your tongue at a family party because you knew your moment would come later, comment here below. Subscribe, because what my sister-in-law said next sealed her own fate. And she never saw it coming. I'm Lily's stepmother. Have been since she was 6. I didn't marry her father for a title or a house. I married him because I loved him, and I loved her the moment I met her, wide-eyed and shy, offering me half her juice box like it was the crown jewels. 6 years later, she calls me mom. Not stepmom. Mom. She chose that word herself, and I've spent every day since trying to deserve it. My husband's name is Marcus. We met 4 years after his first marriage ended, at a time when he'd almost given up on the idea of building a family again. Lily was the one who brought us together in a strange way. She was the one who insisted after our third date that I come to her school's spring concert. You should come, she said, matter of fact, the way only a 6-year-old can be. You're my favorite of Daddy's friends. I went. I cried during her recorder solo, off-key and beautiful. That was the moment I knew. My husband's sister, Renata, never accepted it. From the first Christmas, she made little comments. Real grandkids, this. Blood relatives, that. I let most of it go. Some people need to feel superior to feel safe. I told myself it wasn't worth the fight, that time would soften her, that once she saw how much Lily loved me and how much I loved Lily, she'd come around. She never did. The first real crack came at Easter 2 years ago. Renata's mother, my husband's mother, was handing out small gifts to the grandchildren. Chocolate eggs wrapped in colored foil, one for each child. She reached Lily last, hesitated, and said, "Oh, I didn't think to get you one, sweetheart, since you're not really..." She stopped herself mid-sentence, didn't finish it, didn't need to. The silence did the work the words hadn't. Lily just nodded, said it was okay, and went to go play with her cousins like nothing happened. She was 10 years old. She shouldn't have had to swallow something like that so easily, so quickly, like she'd already learned to expect it. I said something to my husband, Marcus, that night on the drive home. He was furious, gripping the steering wheel harder than the road required. But when he brought it up to Renata a few days later, she brushed it off entirely. "Mom's just old-fashioned," she said. "Don't make it a bigger thing than it is. Lily's fine. Kids bounce back." I let it go again. That was my second mistake. I've replayed that phone call in my head 100 times since. Kids bounce back. As if resilience excuses cruelty. As if the fact that a child recovers means the wound was never real. The escalation happened slowly, the way these things always do. It rarely announces itself. It arrives in small, deniable pieces. Renata started leaving Lily off invitations to cousins-only outings. A trip to the water park one Saturday. A sleepover at Grandma's the next month. A movie outing with all the younger cousins the month after that. Small exclusions, always explainable. We just didn't think she'd want to come. It was a last-minute thing, honestly. I didn't realize she was free that day. Lily noticed every single one. Kids always do, even when they pretend not to. She started asking fewer questions about family plans. She stopped mentioning her cousins as often. She began, quietly, to expect less. Then came the birthday party. My birthday, actually. A backyard barbecue Marcus planned for my 40th. The kind with string lights and a taco bar and 30 relatives crammed onto folding chairs. Renata insisted on bringing dessert, as a peace offering, she said, smiling in a way that should have warned me. I should have known better than to trust that phrase from her. But I wanted to believe in the possibility of peace. I always do. Maybe that's my flaw. The cake was beautiful. 3 tiers, delicate sugar flowers, my name written in careful cursive icing. Renata made a show of having Lily help hand out slices, calling her over sweetly in front of everyone, handing her the cake server with a warm smile. I thought for one hopeful moment that things were finally softening. I thought maybe Renata had decided, at last, to let go of whatever resentment she'd been nursing for 6 years. Then, holding her own slice, standing near the patio table where the aunts and family friends had gathered with their paper plates, Renata said it. Loud, deliberate, timed, I now believe, for maximum audience. She's not real family, is she? I mean, technically. It's sweet that she plays along, though. Lily's hands trembled around the cake plate she was still holding. A slice slid slightly toward the edge. My mother-in-law let out a small, uncomfortable laugh, the kind that agrees without saying so out loud. My cousin Andrea suddenly found something fascinating in her drink. Nobody corrected Renata. Not one aunt, not one cousin, not even the family friends who'd known Lily since she was a toddler in diapers, who'd watched her grow up at every one of these gatherings for 6 straight years. I walked over, calm, and took the plate gently from Lily's hands before it could fall. Go inside for a minute, sweetheart, I told her softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I'll bring you a slice in a bit, okay? Renata rolled her eyes, unbothered, almost amused. I'm just being honest. Someone has to be, since everyone else tiptoes around it like it's some big secret. I didn't argue further. There was no point arguing with someone who'd convinced herself that cruelty was just candor. I smiled, thanked everyone for coming, and finished hosting my own birthday party with a knot in my chest I didn't let anyone see. I cut cake. I laughed at my uncle's terrible jokes. I hugged people goodbye at the door, and underneath all of it, something in me had quietly, permanently shifted. That night, I sat on the edge of Lily's bed while she pretended to be asleep, her breathing too even, too controlled, the way kids breathe when they're trying not to be noticed crying. I stayed until it evened out for real, until her small shoulders finally relaxed. Then I went and found Marcus in the kitchen, doing dishes he didn't need to be doing, using the task to avoid sitting still with his own anger. I'm done being quiet, I told him. Not loud, just done. He turned off the water and looked at me. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to ask her to stop anymore, but I said, I'm going to make sure she doesn't have a choice. I didn't warn Renata. I didn't send an angry text that night, the kind you regret at 2 a.m. I didn't post anything, didn't vent to the family group chat. Instead, the next morning, I made one phone call to my friend Priya, a family mediator I'd known since college, someone who'd spent 15 years untangling exactly this kind of quiet, deniable cruelty in other families. Priya listened for 20 minutes without interrupting. Then she asked one question that reframed everything. Those cousins-only outings, she said. Who actually organizes them? Is it a group decision, or is one person always behind it? I hadn't thought about it that way before. But once she asked, I realized it was always Renata, every single time. And that's when I remembered something I'd forgotten entirely. Years earlier, Grandma had set up a shared family calendar app so everyone could see birthdays, school events, and get-togethers in one place. I still had access to it. Renata, who rarely checked her own phone settings, had apparently forgotten that too. Over the next 3 weeks, I didn't confront anyone. I didn't raise my voice once. I quietly, methodically compiled a simple, factual record. Every excursion Lily had been excluded from over the past year and a half. Every invitation sent to every single cousin except her. Every message on that shared calendar, where Renata had typed things like, let's keep it family this time, or no need to invite the whole crew, just the real cousins this round. I didn't need speculation. I didn't need to twist a single word. I had her own language, time-stamped, dated, saved. It wasn't hard to find. It wasn't hidden. Renata had simply never imagined anyone would think to look. Grandma's 80th birthday came next, hosted at Renata's own house, nearly every relative in attendance. 30-some people crowded into her living room and spilling onto the back deck. Renata stood to give a toast, glass raised, eyes misty with practiced sentiment, talking about how family was the one thing in this world that could never be replaced. How grateful she was that everyone had shown up to celebrate real family bonds, real love, real blood. That was my moment. Not out of spite, out of necessity. Before we continue, I said, standing calmly, phone already in hand, I think everyone here should hear something since we're talking so much about real family tonight. I read the messages aloud, not with anger in my voice, just facts, laid flat, one after another. The water park trip Lily wasn't invited to, texted the same week Renata had told my husband directly that it wasn't intentional. The sleepover explicitly labeled just for blood cousins, in Renata's own exact words. The movie outing, the birthday brunches, message after message, spanning 18 months, forming a pattern too consistent to be accidental. The room went completely silent. Grandma's smile faded slowly, like a light dimming. My mother-in-law's face turned the color of the white tablecloth beside her. Renata went pale. Genuinely pale, the color draining from her face in real time. She opened her mouth to respond, then closed it again. For a woman who had never once run out of sharp, condescending things to say, she suddenly had nothing at all. "You've been keeping records," she finally said, her voice thin and shaking. "I've been keeping receipts," I said, quiet but unshaking. "Since you told my daughter at my own birthday party in front of everyone at this gathering right now that she wasn't real family." Grandma set down her wine glass, her hand trembling slightly. "Renata," she said quietly, "is this true? Have you been leaving her out this whole time? On purpose?" Renata didn't answer. Her silence answered louder than anything she could have said. My mother-in-law, the same woman who had once let a sentence trail off rather than defend a confused, hopeful 10-year-old at Easter, finally found her voice, 2 years too late, but not too late to matter. "That's enough," she said, standing up beside Grandma. "Lily has been part of this family since she was 6 years old. I should have said that a long time ago. I'm sorry I didn't." Nothing exploded after that moment. There was no shouting, no dramatic exit, no scene beyond the one that had already been made. Just a quiet, visible unraveling of a lie Renata had spent years constructing. One small exclusion at a time. One deniable comment at a time. Until the weight of all of it, read back to her in her own words, became impossible to explain away. The following Christmas looked different. Lily was invited to everything. Every outing, every group photo, every small gathering that had once quietly excluded her. My mother-in-law made a visible point in front of the whole family of handing Lily her gift first, wrapping her in a long hug that lasted a beat longer than necessary, as if trying to make up, in that single moment, for every gift she hadn't given before. Renata still comes to family events. Nobody has shut her out. That was never the goal. But she's quieter now, more careful with her words, more aware that the room is listening. She knows now what happens when the truth finally gets its own invitation to the table. I didn't do any of this for revenge. I want to be clear about that. I did it because my daughter deserved to see with her own eyes that the truth eventually finds its way home, that being family was never about blood, never about biology, never about who shares a last name. It was always about who shows up, who stays, who chooses you again and again without needing to be asked. Lily is 14 now. She still calls me mom. Last month, at another family barbecue, I watched her hand a slice of cake to one of her younger cousins, laughing about something silly, completely at ease, completely herself. Nobody at that table doubted, for even a second, that she belonged there. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button right now. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my situation? And if you want more stories about families, betrayal, and the justice that always finds its way back, subscribe and hit the bell. Tomorrow, I have a story that will leave you speechless. See you then.